Hello,
Hello.
hello. Welcome everyone to our Orange Business Services webinar on ensuring maximum collaboration performance in environment of disruption. We're going to look in this webinar a couple of things, and now I'm introducing Serge, please, to talk about the agenda, and we progress through the presentation. You have a set of tools in order to ask questions to the audience and to the presenter. We'll cover a Q&A session at the end of the presentation.
Right. Hi, this is Serge Schertzer. So I'll do a quick introduction. Basically, just to introduce the topic, coronavirus pandemic is turning our economies and our daily lives upside down, with half countries being in total lockdown. So most of the people work from home today and juggling with domestic chores and work and dealing with social distancing. And remote working, the need to cooperate, creates an increased demand for infrastructure. So we are Orange, which are digital native service provider. We are ready to cope with that, but how about other businesses? So most companies have defined business continuity plans. However, the situation now differs from most predicted BCP scenarios. And so BCPs need to quickly adapted to ensure the remote working load. Applications need to run smoothly and securely. Contact centers need to deal with overloading demands and adapt to home working of the agents. I'll move up to the next slide. That was a quick introduction. So in terms of the agenda of today, so I, Serge Schertzer, just to give you a quick introduction, I'm head of global operations and marketing for Enrich Interaction and Collaboration at Orange Business Services. Then Stefan Minana, head of Enrich Interaction and Collaboration in Europe, will be presenting a few typical examples and use cases we've been addressing with our customers. Then Bob will be also doing a special focus on how we deployed in a matter of a few days a virtualized environment for European Health Services Organization. And I will do a wrap-up of our presentation with an outlook of solutions we're starting to roll out to help our customers to get back to the new normal.
Thank you, Serge. Yeah, so to start this webinar, we're just looking at the current situation. I think most of you know that as you're probably working from home today, a lot of decisions have been taken by companies to relocate their workforce in order to avoid health risk and then also the responsibility around it. But also from a government guidance, people are working for more than a month in some certain geography from home. And they need to do that with a high quality of user experience. So obviously Orange Business Services is acting in that area. If that quality of user experience is not present, then there is a big problem with the collaboration. Okay. The meetings have become remote by default. We cannot go to our offices, meet, and then do whiteboarding together in a specific location. So due to quarantine, we need to be working collaboratively at distance and then produce deliverables or optimize processes or whichever tasks you need to do today need to be done by default. Okay. The collaboration is no longer an alternative to save time or to reduce travel. So we have been pitching that type of things with our customer for a long time, like trying to reduce cost and then avoid travel, streamline process. So we have an opportunity as well to think through the way we are using these tools in our business process and embed them. It has become mandatory, so we need to focus into having effective communication today. Maybe learn from this experience that we're having at the moment and then improve the way we're working by a right balance of home working and then in location working and also using collaboration within business process. Okay. So Serge, if you can take the next slide.
Yeah. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, we've been experiencing a huge increase of requests related to collaboration and voice services. So we launched a few special offers, try and buy with our partners. Some are try and buy, some have directly signed up for a 5F8 offer. Our voice networks have been upgraded 3 times in the end of March to be able to cope with the traffic that is 5 times of what we usually experience, and voice traffic is growing even faster during this month of April. Cloud video platform capacity has been multiplied by 4 in 3 weeks to reply to customer requirements. We even had to stop signing up one of our platforms to new customers to conserve quality of service. In the meantime, we have reopened, but that was the afflux of new customers that we were getting. And we see from our own stats that traffic has shifted from large sites to home remote sites connected with their VPN. And so going that 5% moving into a 75% of enterprise staff working today from home. So in terms of engaging your customers and empowering your employees despite mass remote working, indeed, today's workforce is varied. Our customers handle global offices, customer support centers with distributed teams across the world, and remote workers. Having a unified communication platform enables them to work across silos, share knowledge, and empower employees to be more efficient in solving businesses. However, in today's crisis, almost all the business functions have gone remote. Front office and back office are now working for the most part from their homes. So success is defined by the quality of your customer relationships. All employees need more than ever to work in a collaborative manner and continue collecting customer contacts across all touch points and locations and connect them to their best skilled employee. And now what we have seen, and because now we expect personalized interactions, we make sure employees have access to a single customer data view, blending customer details, hosting CRM applications, and past interactions at the contact center level. What we see is that people are no longer at the HQ, they're no longer in their offices. The typical worker is now working from home with his workspace and all his collaborative suite, and the contact center agent is now also working from home with their entire tooling to address customer queries.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Serge. So I would like to lead you through a couple of concrete examples we have been working with customers in the last month. Instead of having like the theory, let's go and concentrate on cases. Maybe you can learn something from it, and then also you're always welcome to contact us for assistance. So a couple of cases I want to highlight here. We have been working with several sectors, several vertical markets. We have different demands. If you see here on the top left side, we have been working, for example, with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in order to really revamp and reset, let's say, the contact center in order to help their citizens abroad to go through the current crisis and get information from back home. Am I able to come back and fly? Which type of measure do I need to take? All these type of questions need to be asked in order to clear, let's say, paperwork to travel or to be relocated. This customer didn't have, let's say, a contact center that was externally facing due to security measure. And what we did for this customer is to set up a cloud contact center together with some of our partners like Genesis and Microsoft to quickly relocate the agents who were answering questions from citizens from a central location back to their home. So in a matter of 48 hours, we were able with our partners to set up a contact center and help the citizen to respond to their most frequently asked questions and help them. Second example I wanted to highlight, there is a lot of question within companies, and especially at the beginning of this crisis, there were a lot of questions around health and behavior that were asked to the companies. So together with Business and Decision, which is a subsidiary of Orange, doing consulting and then working on automation process, we created a bot that's fully automated and then fishing into the frequently asked questions from the World Health Organization in order to answer the question of possible workers in terms of COVID-19, whereas they are remote workers or whereas they are workers working on essential function and need to go and do deliveries. they can go through that dashboard and get, let's say, the main frequently asked questions that are available from the World Health Organization. Dashboard is now standardized and available for you in order to use and can be embedded into your website pretty easily. This example was for a large bank in Belgium, and we deployed that in a very short time frame. Okay, so these are the type of answer we have been having. On the right side also, one of our customers, let's say in the food and then drink processing, a very large conglomerate, also was facing a problem in their contact center. Overnight, they had to relocate all the agents. What we did here is also to set up a remote working function with VPN access for the end user, for the agent, in order to enable their home working facilities, but also provided tools and analytics for the contact center operation manager, which is not anymore in the contact center itself, watching his agent and maybe monitoring a wallboard, to manage, let's say, the flow of information, calls, and then answers that were conducted by the agents working from home. So this was also done in a very short time frame, a couple of days, in order to define the concept and then put it in place. And then obviously working in food and then drink at this time is quite essential, and then a lot of answers need to be provided to the consumer. So the business continuity here was maintained. Okay, so 3 examples were quite typical. I have a couple of others for you as well, who are more in the range of collaboration and others. Some of our customers, and you will be surprised, were not ready at all for the large flux of home workers. And then they came knocking on the door of Orange in order to provide a web conferencing and then unified communication solution, well, often cloud-based, which were integrated and deployed in a very short time frame. So the one on the left, for example, which is a large multi-channel retailer in the catering area, didn't have any solution for web conferencing. What we did here is we were partner with Zoom in order to deploy that, also secure it. You have seen a lot of debate recently on the market around security. We added a share of security on top of the solution and deployed the solution on a very fast manner for them to be able to continue collaborating and working through this crisis. The one in the middle here is more like related to government in crisis communication, but can be applied also in large corporations. We have been deploying for the French government very large video conferencing platform in order to run the crisis management. And this is a concept that's replicated in an enterprise for the executives and then the government and then the assemblies to continue leading conversation and taking policies and measures and communicating via video conferencing. Okay. The one on the right, that's the last one I'll cover today. We have been working with a large pharmaceutical company, which is one of our clients, to enable from day 1 to 2 the remote working and then the mobility component in a Cisco solution, enabling 20,000 users to work from home in a single provisioning effort that lasted about a couple of days to reroute the traffic, secure it, and then enable mobility. Lots of our customers were looking at mobility enablement of unified communication, collaboration, but had that in their plans, and maybe this crisis is accelerating the process and we're ready to respond. So you see through the range of customer cases we have been working in the last month, various scenarios. Business continuity in the contact center area, business continuity in the remote workers, collaboration enablement, and also making sure that the quality of experience is respected and that the voice traffic is reaching, let's say, the end user in appropriate fashion and with a high quality grade. Orange Business Services, of course, is ready to help everyone in that area. I would like to go through a couple of things now because we were in the middle of the crisis. And I think as Serge before me mentioned, the interaction between employees and then the interaction with customers and companies are quite essential in this time of crisis. People need to be able to communicate internally and externally. You need to be able to find the right skilled people and maybe have like backup plans within your company in the unfortunate case that someone would fall sick. So the concept of extending the contact center towards, let's say, the employees, like everyone could be a customer-facing operative, is getting traction within our customer. The three main phases we are seeing now is like the today. We need to deal with the crisis. I think most of you are doing that today in various flavors, deploying web conferencing, video conferencing, enabling business continuity planning for contact center. But we also need to start thinking about tomorrow. You see that various governments are starting to think about post-lockdown and need to put policies in place in order to facilitate that in a very controlled fashion. And the lesson learned area that will come after the crisis. What didn't we do right in this crisis? What can we improve in the future? You see that today the main things we're seeing, and we can help in the consulting area, in the service provisioning area, is that a lot of people were not ready for using the tools that were available. A lot of people didn't know how to use them. You know, like web conferencing, if you are in an office doing administrative tasks all day, you might not be very familiar with that process. So you need to also to set up, let's say, an awareness or at least a training support center for these home workers to enable them to work effectively. We also need to advise our customer in providing the best conferencing tools. So there might not be one solution fits all, you know, in the audio, the web, the video. The most important parameter is to continue doing business. But obviously, we want to do that in a controlled fashion in terms of costs, in terms of quality of experience, in terms of security. So things need to be deployed in a very planned and organized fashion. Here we can help our customer to do so. As I said, the adoption and the change management need to be also part of that change of behavior. And on top of the collaboration area, you need to relocate, to move your call center, to continue, let's say, generating revenue or processing orders in this time of crisis, because this is essential for maintaining, let's say, the survivability of your company through that crisis. Revenue needs to come in, orders need to be coming in, and then the goods need to be delivered in a different fashion, maybe with a tracking, a CRM, and a contact center solution that looks different than the one we had prior to the crisis. Orange Business Services is also able to provide numbers very quickly in terms of voice, so we can do that through our digital portal in very easy fashion. If you don't know about this, I invite you to contact your account manager or contact Orange. We can provide the IDs numbers in a matter of seconds. So in the area of setup of new conferencing and a contact center solution, and enabling them with like numbers and then being available for the external world, we can have that. I talked already about the chatbots and the implementation of this. This is something we do as well. And the last one is like CPaaS. When you have like messaging needs, like integrating SMS or WhatsApp to your current, let's say, communication infrastructure, where we can do that as well. So these are concrete things we can do today. Tomorrow morning, after the lockdown, we really need to review our recovery plans for contact center. What we learned from our customers is that a lot of people were not ready. Okay, so we need to review that together, document them, test them, have a mix maybe of cloud versus, let's say, existing environment being available, and have also like testing of BCP planning for contact center collaboration as a recurrent process. Okay, so these plans need to be documented, tested, put forward for collaboration and contact center. And the parameter that's also very important, today we learned that, is the cybersecurity expertise, and we'll come back to that in a second as well. As people are working from home, from different devices, from different maybe virtual machines, were deployed it in a hasty fashion, security is really important, and it needs to be embedded in the process that we're going through from location to home working relocation. You don't know the type of setup people have at home, and that needs to be also tested and monitored. Okay. Tomorrow, obviously, once we have this BCP plan, security policies being embedded, and then we were able to test them and manage them in a recurrent fashion, we also can look at doing business differently via an e-commerce acceleration, via a higher maybe provisioning or row of remote contact center service provisioning, because that's what's happening today, and people might get used to it, and then have this in a resilient fashion with contact center and collaboration solution based in the cloud, most probably, and being secured as well. The BCP can be orchestrated via digital self-service and self-care portal that are available now on the market and can be managed by third-party provider like Orange Business Services. So these are the three things that we need to look at in the three phases. Today, let's cope with, let's say, the demand and then improve the current setup. Tomorrow, let's redefine the way we do BCP and security around these topics of contact center and collaboration. And tomorrow, maybe set up, let's say, a new way of doing business in a very structured fashion. Now I would like to pass the word to one of my colleagues who is going to cover a slightly different topic, but that's enabling, let's say, the collaboration and then the home working. It's the virtual machine, let's say, and the workplace provisioning that's underneath, let's say, the collaboration and contact center infrastructure in order to enable home workers to perform the tasks. So the one who don't have, say, laptops provisioned by their companies or desktops who are provisioned by the companies at home need to be able to work from home. And we have a set of solution experience return on this area. So Bob, if you want to cover this in the next slides.
Sure. My name's Bob Smart. I'm based in London and work for Orange in the digital workspace. So one of the challenges that we had was from a large health service organization that when the coronavirus started happening some 3 or 4 weeks ago, a call went out to recruit 30,000 retired doctors and nurses and bring them back into service to help cope with the coronavirus. So our partners, Microsoft and VMware, were asked and tasked to create a solution that would enable these people to come back into work, but to access critical data and client information or patient information from their own personal device. And the reason for that was it was too costly to give a new laptop to every one of these people. And provided we could prove that we could deliver the applications and data securely, we could enable them to use their own smartphone, iPad, Mac, or PC to do their work. So the solution that we were asked to put together was a doctor service in a box. And this was for some 30,000 new staff. But as we began looking at this solution, the health service realized that up to 15% of their doctors or nurses could be in isolation if they contracted the COVID-19. So whilst they were in isolation, in the current environment, they were unable to work from home. So the health service came to us and said, is there a way that we could give them access to clinical data so that the doctors, nurses, radiographers could continue working from home, but again, using their own personal device. So in a space of just some 48 hours, we were tasked with putting together a solution that could be scaled, was resilient, was capable of expansion for the future as well, was secure, and was simple to deploy and to use. Our team got the requirement on a Thursday evening, and we had the initial pilot up and running by the Monday of the following week. So in 48 hours, we stood up the proof of concept. We had some 20 doctors come onto the proof of concept and check that they could access the patient data and clinical data securely from their own personal device. And this got a big tick in the box. The health service also did a security check and realized that the data was secure within their own data center. It wasn't moving out. The only thing that was moving was the screenshot of what was happening on the virtual machines. So this enabled the doctor to be sitting from home with their personal device and then to be able to answer any of the questions that came in, whether it's from colleagues or directly from patients. And we were able to create a secure link to those critical applications. You and I probably don't understand those applications, but those are the clinical applications. And then behind that, we put together a service wrap as well that enabled the solution to be built on, in this case, a VMware cloud, and also with an Orange service wrap around it as well. So that meant that the end user could call for support and also accessed our automation tools as well. One of the critical success factors was that a doctor working from home on their personal device could log on to the system in sub 1 minute. After we built the solution, we had that time down to sub 12 seconds to log on to the system. The way that we organized it behind scenes is that the health service is split into multiple regions. And so each of the regions has its own tenant sitting on top of the platform. And then on top of that tenant, they have their desktops, their specific applications, and an Orange service wrap as well. This solution is scalable, so we could take it from a few hundred users up to 20,000, 30,000 users. And we can do that now very quickly, so it's a very scalable solution. We take them through an agile service deployment. So it's fast onboarding. We do that first stage with the 20 users in 1 to 2 weeks, and we're checking that all their applications are working. As soon as that's checked, we then put the first 100 in as the pilot, and that takes up to 2-3 weeks. And then we're straight into the managed service. So that onboarding can take it from a few hundred users to the multiple thousands of users. The way that we've been able to do that so quickly is that the work we would previously have done ahead of going into production, we're now doing as the users are onboarding. So we're doing our service introduction and automation and optimization as the users come on board. And this has saved a number of weeks, say 8 or 10 weeks, in terms of speed of delivery. So one of the reactions we've had from the health service is to consider what the world looks like after Corona. The feedback that we've had from clinicians, doctors, and nurses is that the solution that Orange provided in such a short space of time is actually as fast as, if not better than, their current solution. It also enables remote working, as we've been discussing, but importantly, it also enables the use of personal devices. A lot of the doctors for a number of years had wanted to use their own Macs or iPads, because you can imagine as they go from ward to ward, they don't want to carry a heavy PC with them. So to use an iPad as they go around the ward changes their work for them. And because we're able to deliver the data securely, they're already beginning to think that this could be the solution post-Corona. So as we put together that end solution, we'd like to impress upon you that end-user computing is not just VDI, but it's actually made up of some other ingredients as well. So how do you manage those laptops, desktops, iPads, and Macs? So Orange has a modern management solution for that. We can do these remote desktops. We can help you with Windows 10 and Office 365 as well. But probably the key thing is in that green box, we can actually align devices and the delivery of applications and data to each of your use groups as well. So once we understand your organization, we can deliver those applications and data securely to your end users on the most secure device. So going forward, we see that the solution isn't just VDI, it's not just the endpoint device, but it's a whole mix of the Orange portfolio, from the network to managing the end user and the security piece as well. So all of that can sit under an Orange managed service. That's what we've delivered into the health service, and that's the sort of thing that we would like to talk with you going forward as well, is how under the Orange umbrella we can bring together these different technologies for you. So having said that, I'd like to hand over to Serge for the conclusion.
Yeah. Before that, I'd like to say two words, Stephanie. So we've been going through that webinar with a set of potential solution helping our customer, like collaboration, virtual desktop, and convergence. And in the last phase, we need to have the underlying infrastructure, the desktop, the remote virtual machines, and the VDIs in order to enable our customers to operate from home, based on what we have seen, other like containerized applications, secured, and then being able to work together with a collaboration solution. So if we can take a couple of, let's say, conclusion on what needs to happen in the next, let's say, 90 days, look further to these type of areas like virtual desktop and convergence, and make sure that it reach like a unique suite, a unique goal. Also, Serge, if you want to say a couple of words on the wrap-ups for the. Sorry, Serge.
Yes. Hey, I'm muting myself. Thanks.
So
definitely around virtual desktop, there's definitely the remote workforces will require having a more extensive set of tools, allowing them to work in the same manner as if they were working in their corporate offices. That means having a modern workspace with all the applications required to achieve critical business tasks. The second point is definitely voice to be available everywhere, from the cloud, from fixed, mobile, and so on. Traditional voice telephony is also proving to be very important and will likely continue to be used both in fixed and mobile domains in increasing volumes. While Internet enterprise conferencing tools are growing massively, there will be also a need for simple dial-ins to calls, to just call in. There will also be extra traffic calling older people for people that are stuck inside, as well as in queues into contact centers for health, finance, and other support services. And which is good is Orange has one of the largest voice networks, and we will be able to cope with its increasing demand in the future. Concerning contact centers, there's definitely a contact center retooling, which is ongoing, and this is something we're working for, the back to normal thing. After relocating, moving, and call centers in the cloud for remote use in the short term, there will be a phase of redesign for recovery plan and future resiliency of contact centers. Retool and adjust procedures of contact centers to account for changes that deviate from standard processes. So laptops for agents, updated remote tools, cloud applications, and so on, while reducing cost, which is one of the most important, topics. Reducing cost is, top priority from our customers. Agents to work remotely with all the tools they usually have on premise. And some of the examples are, implementing a flexible workforce model and identify what needs to be done through an agent, like increase the use of IVR, digital self-care, and prioritize agent capacity for more important tasks. And proactive client management. So understand the customer experience in terms of, network quality, drop calls, and proactively address some specific issues by automating tasks through AI and RPA, like robotic process automation. That's for this slide. That's pretty much it for us. I'm very glad you guys were here to listen to us, and we're open up, for a Q&A session, and feel free to ask your questions. Thank you very much. Okay. We also have a chat which is available where you can actually type in your questions and we can answer those. All right. So I guess we were very clear and got no questions either on the chat or from anything coming from Katie. Okay. We thank you very much, and we thank you for attending this session, and we say thank you and goodbye. All right. Bye-bye.